Today we're going to continue thinking about the characters Frog and Toad. Today we're going to focus in on the characters' actions. What are the characters doing, and what does that tell us about their personality? So remember last time we talked about personality traits are what you would use to describe somebody and the way that they act. Physical traits are when you describe what they look like short and green, brown, tall and green. Those are the physical traits. Today we're going to take a close look at how Frog and Toad are acting and think about what that can tell us about their personalities. The chapter we're going to read today is called The Kite. Frog and Toad went out to fly a kite. They went to a large meadow where the wind was strong. "Our kite will fly up and up," said Frog. "It will fly all the way up to the top of the sky." "Toad," said Frog, "I will hold the ball of string. You hold the kite and run." Toad ran across the meadow. He ran as fast as his short legs could carry him. The kite went up in the air. It fell to the ground with a bump. Toad heard laughter. 3 robins were sitting in a bush. "That kite will not fly," said the robins. "You may as well give up." Using what I know about Toad, I wonder how he's going to react to those robins laughing at him and telling him to give up. It seems like he gives up on things pretty easily. Remember in that last chapter when he just didn't want to get out of bed to clean his room? Toad ran back to Frog. "Frog," said Toad, "this kite will not fly. I give up." So we see that Toad has a problem. His kite won't fly. Do you think he's going to give up? Do you think Frog would let him? "We must make a second try," said Frog. "Wave the kite over your head. Perhaps that will make it fly." Toad ran back across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. The kite went up in the air and then fell down with a thud. "What a joke," said the robins. "That kite will never get off the ground." So in this part of the story, we saw Frog again being very encouraging to Toad, telling him, "Don't give up, give it another try. This time, run with the kite and wave it over your head." Let's see if he can keep Toad trying. Toad ran back to Frog. "This kite is a joke," he said. "It will never get off the ground." "We have to make a third try," said Frog. "Wave the kite over your head and jump up and down. Perhaps that will make it fly." So in this part of the story, we see that Toad is really frustrated, but Frog is staying calm and being encouraging. So think about how we're noticing some of the same traits from the first chapter in these characters in the second chapter. That's how we know it's a character trait. Not how somebody acts one time, but when we see them act the same way in many different situations. Toad ran across the meadow again. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. The kite went up in the air and crashed down into the grass. "That kite is a joke," said the robins. "Throw it away and go home." Toad ran back to Frog. "This kite is junk," he said. "I think we should throw it away and go home." So look at Toad here. So are you starting to notice his actions? How he's getting so frustrated and believing what the birds say, and he's kind of being defeated by what someone else is saying. And then let's see what Frog's reaction. Can you predict what Frog will do when Toad tries to give up? "Toad," said Frog, "we need one more try. Wave the kite over your head, jump up and down, and shout, 'Up, kite, up!'" Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. He shouted, "Up, kite, up!" The kite flew into the air. It climbed higher and higher. So we see Frog again has been a good friend, encouraging Toad not to give up. And look, once again, he has helped Toad solve his problem. "We did it!" cried Toad. "Yes," said Frog. "If a running try did not work, and a running and waving try did not work, and a running, waving, and jumping try did not work, I knew that a running, waving, jumping, and shouting try just had to work." The robins flew out of the bush, but they could not fly as high as the kite. Frog and Toad sat and watched their kite. It seemed to be flying way up at the top of the sky. So again, today just think about these characters. Think about how in both of the chapters we saw examples of Frog being friendly and encouraging and helping Toad solve his problems. And in both chapters we saw examples of Toad being grumpy and frustrated and giving up easily. Those are character traits when characters act the same way in more than one situation. On our Google Classroom, you'll see that there is a read aloud of the entire book. So if you would like to hear the rest of the stories from this book, you can listen to them under that link.